I know in the first part of the video, the first part one, I guess is what I wanted to say of um, the video about what has become of me 1 year later. I was, for the most part, very emotional, and so I didn't want to leave it sort of, dangling, um, and not give people some information that might be um, something that they could use in terms of coping with a situation like this. And hopefully, uh, part two will, um, possibly give people some tools when they encounter something like this, similar to what I went through. And I wanted to let everybody know, how I've been coping with this on a day-to-day basis. I have been working on a lot of things um, creatively, I guess is the best way to put it. Just sort of using creative outlets in order to, um, I guess, heal from the trauma that this has caused, and also give me some distraction from the physical symptoms that I've been having as well. When I'm at a period during the day when I'm well enough to do these things. I have been having sort of a overall decline of my fine motor function in my hands. So, with that being the case, I've had to really sort of try to work around that in certain ways. I've made jewelry for about 33 years, and you know, for me, it was very, I was used to doing metal work and, even simple things like, doing wire wrapping, wrapping the loop for an earring, uh, you know, for years and years, I was experienced in that and that was easy for me. But I started to have more and more trouble with it, and I had to pretty much stop doing that type of jewelry. So I've been trying to reinvent myself business wise, um, to try to earn the money that I'm going to need, the extra money for whatever medical expenses I have that are not covered by my insurance, or that for some reason or another, I'm not getting access to. Um, right now, I am exploring textiles to uh, incorporate some of those techniques, especially shabby chic types of techniques, with fabric, and some other embellishments, into my repertoire of jewelry making techniques, in hopes that maybe, I can increase my sales in my Etsy shop, um, because a lot of the stuff that I have in my Etsy shop right now, I've had for a few years and it hasn't sold. And I think Etsy has gotten so big now that, you can kind of get lost as especially a jewelry seller. There are a lot of jewelry sellers there, and it's a huge marketplace. And if you're going there as a customer and trying to search for certain things, you know, um, most likely you're just going to see the first few pages unless you're very patient and you want to go through 30 or 40 or 50 pages. So, as a seller, it's difficult to stay, at the front of the search function, where people are most likely to see your work. And even if you have something that they might like and that they would buy, if they don't see you and they don't, go back enough pages to find your shop, then, you know, they may completely miss what you have, and, uh, not come and not buy. So I have been trying to come up with some new techniques that I can incorporate, that I know are popular right now. I know that there are a lot of people that are still into, that are, really into vintage and the vintage look and retro type of stuff. And that's still very popular as a jewelry style. And I don't want to completely depart from my Native American roots. But what I'm planning on doing is creating a new line of jewelry, um, that is sort of a fusion between shabby chic and tribal Native American. That's something that I don't think has been done before, and I'm hoping that it will be, accepted by potential buyers and that they will like it and that they will want to buy it. And so I've been spending a lot of time pretty much absorbing and learning and trying to develop myself as an artist. Um, and that in itself is therapeutic in healing from this trauma that has happened to me. Um, and, although it hasn't completely gotten rid of it, um, it has helped tremendously because, despite the fact that there are times when I am absolutely, you know, devastated and really upset, um, there are a lot of times that I still enjoy. And, being creative and, sort of trying to develop myself as an artist has really helped me cope with this on a day-to-day basis. And it gives me some hope, even though there are a lot of times when I don't feel hopeful. Um, I find that sometimes I can even just, watch videos on YouTube, um, of other artists who are making beautiful things and things that I, techniques that I want to incorporate into my style, and give me ideas and um, the whole act of being able to sort of plan for the future and, create and come up with things that are beautiful, is very healing. And so, I'm coming up with, these plans business wise to try to improve my marketability as an artist. And, while I'm doing that, I'm also exploring some other things, some other outlets that I haven't really, been keeping up with recently. I've been into a lot of things over my lifetime, a lot of creative ventures. I'm a writer, and I actually have a book in progress right now that I haven't written on for a very long time. Ever since this whole thing happened at Emory, it has been taking up so much of my time that I had to kind of put the book on hold. It's an autobiography, but it goes deeper than that. It goes into, sort of sociological, cultural issues, about being Native American and being disconnected from your culture and that kind of thing. Um, so I'm hoping that that will also bear fruit in the future, and that, maybe it will also benefit my son, down the road, even after I'm gone. It's kind of a memoir, but like I said, it goes into, further than just that. It explores a lot of cultural issues and sociological issues. Um, so I'm wanting to kind of get back into that and, you know, pick up where I left off on that. And, I'm sure I'll probably include some of this experience, but in that book, I go a lot broader than that. So, this isn't going to be the main focus of that book. That's just going to be sort of a part of it. Um, and, if that turns out to be successful, when self-publishing and all that, then, I might go on to write further things. Um, but yeah, also, um, I'm listening to a lot of music. That is helpful. It's been very healing to do that. Um, and I also write songs, and I haven't really written any for a while. I mean, there have been bits and pieces that have come to me here and there, but you know, I guess because of everything that has been taking up my time lately, I really haven't been as inspired as I used to be when I used to write songs a lot more smoothly and easily. But I'm trying to get back into that. So I guess the best advice that I can give, as far as, if you as a patient are running into some of the same things that I've run into, um, you know, try to look for the things that brought you joy before this happened and pick up those threads again and follow them. Um, Try to find anything that brings you joy, even if it's just something small. I mean, if you like reading, or if you like drawing, or if you like sports, I mean, any of that, even if it doesn't really seem, possible right now, try to think back to the times when things were good in your life, when you were completely involved in something that you enjoyed and that you loved, and try to remember what that felt like. And that's how I've been coping this past year. um yeah, I probably cry every day at some point, but I also make sure that I take time, as long as I'm feeling up to it physically, I make sure that I take time to do something fun every day, you know, even if all I can do is watch something, in a video that someone else is doing that I enjoy. Um, Even if that's all that I can do that day, if I can't fathom picking up something and creating something myself, um, I watch videos of things that I love, and I comment on them, and I connect with people in that way. Even if I'm not talking about what's going on with me, even if I'm just commenting on something that they're doing that I like, that's a small way that I can connect with other people and do it in a way where it's not overwhelming, and I don't feel that I have to get in too deep or anything like that. But even just commenting on somebody else's video and complimenting something that I like about what they did. And I watch, in addition to videos on, fine craft type techniques, I also watch a lot of snake videos. And I know that probably some of you that are subscribed to my channel are familiar with my snake, my ball python velvet. and started watching, for that purpose. And I do hope to start doing more videos with her too, for the people that are interested in that and not as interested in you know, um, the activist type stuff. I kind of want to do both in this channel. Um, but yeah, I wanted to say too that, snakes are one of my special interests, and I really enjoy watching some of the people who breed snakes and do that for a living, and people who educate the public on how great snakes can be, and how misunderstood they are. I mean, I can really relate to that. I know that animals in a lot of ways go through some of the same parallel struggles that we as humans go through, and you know um, they suffer discrimination too. And I think snakes are one of the animals that probably are the most misunderstood and feared and hated and that kind of thing. And really, if you knew them, you would realize that they're not out to get people. They're not, purposely going out to try to bite people. Um, they're beautiful animals. I mean, I think that a snake is the perfect combination of strength and grace rolled into one, of any animal on the earth. And they have a lot more cognizance and intelligence than people give them credit for. And I think that research is bearing out now that they're not just the, lower brain, dumb animals that people once believed, um, but they have a lot more awareness than we ever realized, and they can bond. I find that my ball python Velvet, um, she recognizes me, and she really, um, it's not all instinct. I think that she feels comfortable with me, and although it's not the same way as humans understand you and bond with you, snakes do have that capacity. And, she does things like she'll, raise up her head and watch my computer or watch TV with me and just sit on my lap. And, that too is comforting to me, having a pet. And my dog Carmela too, she also gives me comfort. Having a pet, and the combination of the give and take that goes along with that. You take care of them, but in some ways they take care of you too. Not in the same way that humans can, but there are certain things that animals offer that no human can offer. There's just such an unconditional, you know, love, that goes on there between human and animal, human and pet, however you say that. Um, they don't judge you. It doesn't matter to them what people say or how you look or, what you weigh or any of that stuff. You know, they accept you for who you are. And, I think that in itself is healing, you know. And I also think that, working on this whole issue of institutional bullying on a systemic level, on a systems advocacy level, is healing, because I think, there are some times when you need to distract yourself and kind of get away from it, but then there are other times when you need to do something about it in order to have some kind of closure. Um, and I know that I won't have complete closure with this until things are set right and I'm on the right track and I have my medical backup. But you do gain some closure by actively working to do something about the problem. And if you can help other people in the process of working through something that's happened in your life, that can be incredibly healing. And, feeling that your experience is not just, you know, an experience, but that it has, wider significance, and that maybe something in your experience can help others is something that helps you too. And, I think that one of the best things that I've found that helps me is in, looking at it, I guess, maybe more analytically. Um, I mean, sure, there's going to be times when you are caught up in the emotion of the situation and you just, you know, cry and you feel horrible and all that. And you feel trapped and that kind of thing. But I think if you can look at the problem and see the root of it and say, okay, let me break this down into pieces and look at it analytically and, why is this problem happening and what would it take to fix it? How do we plug the loopholes? How do we change the way that public perception is about when patients are undiagnosed, when something is not easy to identify, and when you're not getting a big smoking gun in test results, at least at that point. Um, when you break it down into pieces and you sort of, I guess, in a sense, reverse engineer it and figure out almost in bullet point form what it would take to fix the problem um, in a technical sense, that is very helpful, even emotionally, because you don't feel as powerless then. You feel more as if um, something you're doing can make a difference. Even if it's to help the next person or preventing it from happening to the next person or nipping it in the bud if it's already started but it hasn't gotten as severe as what happened to you. Um, that can be very healing, to know that, um, you're working on a solution, a long-term solution. And so, another part of what I'm doing is, I'm sort of trying to come up with things for posterity, and that even if the solution doesn't come soon enough for my life, that other people can benefit from it in the future. And maybe it'll prevent others from having to go through what I went through. And, you know, I am coming up with a number of strategies to try to address this on a systems level. As I mentioned in my first video, I I have been in touch with Secretary of Health and Human Services, Sylvia Burwell, and I will continue to be in touch with her. And the last letter that I wrote her, I told her that I would be willing to speak before her committee and before Congress, and if she could sponsor me and help me get there and put me up in a hotel or whatever you know, I don't know how long I would have to be there. I would think maybe a few days. But if she could sponsor me to do that, I would really welcome the opportunity to go and speak before Congress, because I think that this is the kind of story that they need to hear. And, you know, I'm kind of a canary in a coal mine for what's going on in wider society. There's a lot of discrimination going on, and, you know, on a lot of different issues. But I think that patients with chronic illnesses, and especially difficult, you know, and difficult and hard to identify, hard to treat type illnesses, um, you know, that is sort of a group of people that is pretty much unrepresented. Even though we're a pretty large voting bloc, and I think we're getting bigger. Um, you know, this is one of the things that I've proposed to her, that I would really like to come and speak about my experience and about what I see as possible solutions to this problem, so that we can make medicine better, you know, for other patients that come along. Um, and, you know, the other thing is that I saw another video by a woman with Asperger's who was talking about a yearly autism conference that is held in the Atlanta area. And I would like to participate in that. I think, unfortunately, I missed the deadline for the call for presentations. I think it was in October or November. So I missed it for this year, and I think it's being held in May or something. But I am hoping to get on their mailing list, and, you know, so that I can be notified when they do another call for presentations, and hopefully I can be a presenter next year. And I'm also looking to connect with other people who have had similar experiences, and maybe we can put a panel together, rather than just one person speaking, you know, have several people speak about similar experiences. Because one thing that I do know from my advocacy background is that legislative bodies take it a lot more seriously when they get stories from many people rather than just one or two. And so the more that we can pull together as a community, um, and, you know, this includes people with autism or Asperger's, as well as people, you know, with other, you know, with other conditions, you know, like, you know, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, EDS, dysautonomia, all of this stuff, you know, RA. I mean, any of these types of conditions that are kind of long term, and, you know, have a lot of, you know, just take a lot of work. Um, I really welcome, you know, people contacting me if they would be interested in partnering with me on this, to create a panel of speakers who would go around and educate people about this topic. Because I think that, you know, as people who are chronically ill, and those of us with Asperger's, autism, um, you know, we have certain vulnerabilities that are just not being addressed, and certain needs. And I think that the strongest, um, you know, the strongest remedy for that is ourselves and each other. And I think we need to be a force to be reckoned with, and refuse to be silent, and continue to speak out. And I encourage also others who are watching this video who, you know, have similar experiences, to make videos about this too. If they have been a victim of institutional bullying, defamation, or other types of offenses like this in the medical system, um, please make videos about it. Speak out, write in your blogs, um, and write your legislators. Continue to make your voice heard. Don't shut up. And even if people tell you to shut up or try to intimidate you, keep in mind what's for the greater good. That, you know, what keeps abuse alive is silencing the victims. And if you refuse to be silenced and you continue to speak the truth, eventually people will hear it and they will listen and they will take you seriously. I truly believe that. Um, and even in those darkest times where you feel like nobody's ever going to believe you or nobody's ever going to listen to you, hold on to the fact that there are other people like me out there who know what you're talking about and know that this happens and that you're not alone. But we need to pull together as a group. We need to become a unified force and a well-oiled machine to go to the powers that be and insist that our voices be heard and insist that we be a partner at the table to make policy on a federal level. So I guess that is what I really wanted to leave you guys with. I know that my previous video was, gut wrenching and all that. But I didn't want to just leave you with that. I wanted to let you know some of the things that I've been doing to move forward and to, actually solve the problem, and possibly give you some tools with which you can deal with your struggles if you have similar ones. Um, and I want to let you know that I'm giving you an open invitation, um, to partner with me in this effort if you would like to, and you've always thought about trying to do something to uh, to make a positive impact. These are things that we can do, but I think we need to do them as a group, not just individuals. The more that we can band together and the more that we can do this in an organized way, um, I think the more likely it is that we'll make headway and that Congress will listen and that they'll start to see that the current system is not working. There's too many people falling through the cracks. And we need to change that as a group. You know, we need to put our differences aside. I mean, I know I've heard a little bit about, even in the ASPE community, how, there are differing opinions on certain things, and some people might not get along with other people. But I think, you know, whatever differences there are among us, um, there are common threads to our lives that all of us have in common. And um, there are issues that are bigger than that. And we need to really look at some of these issues like, healthcare and aging as an ASPE, and, you know, insist that we become part of the solution. Not have professionals speak for us at conferences, not have doctors make all the decisions, but we are competent in our own right, and we need to make that known, you know, both locally and federally. And I think that through doing that, we can change the public perception of people with Asperger's and autism. and people with chronic illnesses. Um, and I think that we can do a lot as a group if we work together and, we organize. We can do a lot to change those public perceptions and those wrong impressions that people have of us, because there's still a lot of work to be done, in um, public education and real awareness, awareness that we want, not like Autism Speaks, but our version of awareness and acceptance and, you know, um, being considered full partners alongside uh, the neurotypicals. Real acceptance. I mean, I think that the biggest thing that we can do to achieve that um, is to get as organized as we can. Speak on panels, speak in front of Congress, um, use any platform that we can to try to educate the public, tell them what it's really like for us and what we go through and what we need. And, let them know that, you know, we're not irrelevant. Our voice needs to be heard. And, we're competent human beings. We can be taken seriously, we can be believed. And we're not stupid. We are intelligent, and we can speak for ourselves. So I think, you know, if we can organize around some of these issues, I think we can do a lot of good. So I really appreciate you watching this video. Um, Please, if you enjoy it or if it's giving you a lot of food for thought, give a thumbs up, leave a comment, and feel free to contact me if you would like to partner with me in organizing this politically, you know, on any of these issues. Um, and I will be doing more videos in the future. So, you know, stay tuned. Thank you.